I want to share a personal story, but I don't think it's a very, very personal story, so don't worry. You probably had something very similar. When I was the first year of my bachelor's, I was doing a student job, and it was a data entry job. And I had something, I was given an Excel sheet, something like this. All right, and I had to fill out the rest. We had an index that had to count the number of rows because it was really important to know how many of something we had. And we had like 10,000, so it was a whole semester job. And we had one thing that was constant, but it was needed in order to calculate some value. Okay, so in this case, the number of apples times the number of apples per barrel is the total number of apples. And so after filling in all these things, and I was allowed to copy paste this one, of course, then I would calculate things, but it was emphasized that I be very careful because this was really important data, and I had to pay attention, make sure I calculate everything right. And I remember my supervisor was showing me this, and she said, "Yeah, you type 4 and everything." And I said, "Well, did you know if you highlight a pattern and you drag down, it'll do auto completion for you?" And she had this reaction. That was pretty neat. And she said, "Okay, well, you can still copy paste this." And I said, no problem. Same deal. It's a pattern. And, the Excel's pretty smart. And except my mouse is not very good. And then it's good. And she said, "Okay, well, that's neat. But you still have to be very careful. Don't make a mistake here." And I said, "Well, did you know that actually if you type the equal sign, you can do this times this, and it's a formula, and it'll get the same value, and then I don't have to be careful anymore. And then if we combine it with the previous strategy, it'll autocomplete and do everything itself." And her reaction was like this. And as I watched this, she sat back, I could see all of these new ideas about projects that could be done that weren't there before. And there was this student that had basically finished the whole semester's work, just waiting to do the next things. I felt so empowered at that moment. Guido von Rossum invented Python almost 30 years ago. And about 10 years after he invented it, he submitted a DARPA funding request called Computer Programming for Everybody. And just because we're ending PyCon, I want to highlight a portion of this to get an idea of what his vision was for what Python should be in the future. He said, I'm just going to read it. I know you're not supposed to do that. "In the dark ages, only those with power or great wealth possessed reading and writing skills or the ability to acquire them. It can be argued that literacy of the general population, together with the invention of printed technology, has been one of the most emancipatory forces of modern history." Skip that. "However, while many people nowadays use a computer, few of them are computer programmers. Non-programmers aren't really empowered in how they can use their computer. They're confined to using applications in the way that programmers have determined for them. One doesn't need to be a visionary to see the limitations there. And one of the great first steps he did when making Python, making it readable, and putting all the community standards that have made us such, Python programmers, he included Turtle graphics as one of the first built-in packages. And not a lot of people know about Turtle graphics, but it's still there. If you import Turtle, you can use it as a drawing application. You can make a screen by calling turtle.screen. And you make a turtle, a little arrow guy, by calling turtle.turtle. And as you move your turtle around, by giving him commands like forward, or to turn left 45 degrees and go forward 45, you start to draw pictures. And I've used this package and shown to all kinds of people, from 8-year-olds all the way up to 70-year-olds, and they pick this up really fast, and they learn object-oriented programming really, really quickly. Turtle wasn't first in Python. It's been around for a long time, but it's still in Python today. Even in clusters, even in your Docker containers, there is a Turtle package sitting there. I like to think about how, even in today's high-powered world, Python is still a teaching language. But as Python has grown, we've started to use Python for more and more. Python has become a real programming language. We've got programmers that use non-Python code, Python programmers, which are kind of like programmers now. We still have non-programmers. And this is a problem, because we have more and more people that want to be programmers all around. And it falls on us to take up the mantle that Guido set forth and bring more people into the fold, not necessarily into Python, but into becoming empowered. I hope that as you show people at your work or at home what you can do with your computer, that you remember the difference between showing what you can do versus what your computer can do. Because if you show them what your computer can do, when you have programming, you can empower them as well. So Python is for everybody, just like computer programming is for everybody. Thank you very much.